and I'm wondering if this is the one that doesn't have a tail, because I know that the ones with the tail do look like a wolf. They look like, I can't remember which. Back when we did my first interview, I know that I had the classification because I was so obsessed with figuring out what they were. And it's the one that looks like a wolf. It looks like a timber wolf, only huge. And it's beautiful. I mean, when I see it, I don't feel scared. I don't feel like how I would if I saw a normal wolf. It's not that kind of a feeling. It's very much like I said, I just feel respect. And I know that like when you have a really strict teacher and you don't goof around, that's how I feel. I have to be emotionally around these things. But that one is just beautiful. And it's like the negative space black. And the eyes either look very, very yellow or very, very green and backlit. And the mouth, the teeth are like, they're, even though they have a mouth, like a snout, like a wolf, the teeth are all pointy. It's not like a dog where they have the smaller teeth and then they have their canines. It's all pointy. The lips can close where you don't see the teeth, but the teeth, when they open their mouth, or kind of like, it's almost like they kind of, it's not a smirk, but it looks like they're smiling. It sounds crazy, but it looks like they're smiling, and you can see their teeth, and it's like little needles. Not, I'm not explaining this very well, but it's not like a dog, how a dog's canine goes down and it's almost like a rounded point. These are like needly points where they look very sharp, and it almost looks like if they bit their tongue, it would be a problem. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like really sharp teeth. It's not like, they're just not rounded at all. There's nothing soft in their mouth. I see that one. And then the other one, and I think that this might be the one that doesn't have a tail, but it looks scarier. That one looks like a werewolf. I mean, it just looks, I don't like seeing it. And even though I haven't been hurt, my daughter hasn't been hurt, my dog hasn't been hurt. I have cats. My cats haven't been hurt. I don't like seeing it at all because it frightens me. It doesn't have all of the fur that, like the ones that I see that are by the outhouse have fur. It's not hair. This thing looks like it has hair. I don't know if people can get a picture of this, but it's like it has hair, and it's like, maybe like between, it's not short hair. It's like kind of like about 4 inches hair. And the ears are kind of by the side of the head. They're not on top. Like the ones that look like a timber wolf look like a wolf. I think they're beautiful. They're still intimidating, but they're beautiful. This thing just looks like, and I like I said, they haven't hurt us, but it almost looks like something that came from hell. I mean, it is just scary. And I don't like seeing it. It's looked in the window before, and it, like, if I ever wanted to like die on the spot from feeling like I wish I never saw this thing, and that's the closest I've ever came to just wanting to um, I guess not exist because it was so frightening to me. It was so fundamentally frightening to me. I don't feel like it's going to hurt us. I don't understand how it can look so different from the others. And I know that they must be in the same group because they all are here. But that thing is just scary. It is just scary. You can see more skin on it. It doesn't look like it has mange or anything like that. It just looks like it has like short, like 4-inch hair maybe. And it looks groomed. I mean, it doesn't look matted or anything like that, but it looks like how someone would describe a werewolf to be. And you can see skin. It has like a grayish black skin, and it doesn't look oily or anything like that, but you can just see it. And it has a chest like a man. Like with this, I can see more of the body structure, and it has the chest of like what you would imagine like a really ripped out bodybuilder to have, where you can see a chest, like pecs and abs and everything. And then like at the hips, it changes into like a canine. But it does have like the raccoony paws, not paws, but like hands, but it's like a raccoon. It's not like a man hand or like a Sasquatch hand. It's like a raccoony hand where it looks like when you see a raccoon's hand, you can see that it has more of like it looks rough. It doesn't look like skin, like our skin. It looks like a different type of texture. And it has got like, almost like talons. The claws on the end of it, it's not nails. It's a claw. Like how when we would grow our nails out, if you turn your nail upside down, it's kind of hollow. This is like not even like a dog claw. It's like kind of like a bird talon almost. It's so, or like in the movie Jurassic Park, the Velociraptor claw. That's kind of what that thing looks like. And I think I sent you pictures of the claw marks on the side of our house and on the garage door. And I'm 99.9% sure that the dog men did all that damage. But like seeing that thing, my brother hasn't seen it. My daughter has seen it, and she's not scared, which just baffles me that doesn't scare her. But like when I talked to her about it, she actually told me, and then it made me feel bad. She said, you can't judge something by how they look. It's how they make you feel, which is very wise and very sweet. But I think maybe being an adult, maybe it's jaded me, or I don't know, but it's scary to me. And maybe that's why I don't see that as often as I see the other kind. But I just don't know have you heard of people where they have these they must be two different types, but they're both here?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've heard about eyewitnesses having more than two types on their property.
Wow. That's the thing, Vic, and why I'm so glad that you have your show and why you have a resource for people like us, because you feel like you're crazy. I felt like I can't be seeing this because this is here. And how can I have these two things here? And I kind of felt the same thing when we had Sasquatch and suddenly we're seeing dogmen. I thought, how can all these things be here? Because you really feel, and and I'm sure other eyewitnesses are just as appreciative of you, because you do feel isolated, alone, and you feel like you are crazy. And unlike some of your eyewitnesses, I'm very fortunate because my family has seen it. My brother's seen it, and I have friends that I trust that have come and that have seen all this activity too. So I know that I'm not crazy, but I really feel for some of your eyewitnesses where they've witnessed it alone, or it's been like a one-time sighting and you feel like you're crazy. And I've seen them a lot, and I still feel like sometimes like I'm crazy with having all this going on here. That they really do seem to get along very well, because we'll hear thumps on the side of the house and then taps. And I know that it's not the Sasquatch tapping. So I know that they're together because the thump and the tap are not that far apart. So it's not like they have like, well, tonight's your night. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah, normally they mix like oil and water, but there are cases where they do work together. They do come together and they do seem to have amicable relationships where they get along fine, apparently. It's hard to understand, but sometimes it's how it is. If you've had a dogman encounter and would like to talk with me about it, whether in private or on the show, please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. If you've had a Sasquatch sighting and would like to be a guest on one of my 2 Bigfoot shows, please go to mybigfootsighting.com and let me know. You've had a lot of experiences since you were on last time on episode 281. Can you share some of these most recent experiences with us?
Sure. I have had quite a few other experiences where we have one that I think is just really unusual. We have this little kitten that I was outside, and I live, like I said, I'm rural. And unless someone dumps off kittens, there's no way that a kitten would suddenly appear at my property. And I was outside and I heard and saw this tiny, tiny little kitten. He was probably 8 or 9 weeks old, not old at all, and brought him in. I just figured that somebody had dumped him off. So I brought him inside and took him to the vet and all that. And this was like after I'd had him for about a week. He got scared of our dog and got outside, and I couldn't find him, and I felt horrible. But we had a little bit of snow on the ground so I could track him. And there's an island on our property, and it's maybe a quarter of a mile from my home, from my house. So I was out walking and I was following these tracks, and I went down, and down where our island is, it's very, very wooded. We have a very large field. And then if you leave my house, go out the front door and then walk to the field to the left is just woods. And there's a small embankment, and then there's a river. And if you follow along the river, you'll get to this island. Well, when you go down the embankment, you go to the right and you're following the river, and then it gets brambly, and there's a lot of fallen trees. The Sasquatch have knocked down a ton of trees. And if you've ever seen what the Sasquatch do to trees, how they kind of bend them and weave them, where it looks like a basket. The trees are just so interwoven and intertwined that we call it kind of like their keep out sign. But I went in there because I wanted to get this kitten. So I went in there, and all of a sudden I got that kind of like that feeling. And I thought, I feel mean thinking this, but I thought, I hope they didn't eat the kitten. I hope that the kitten's okay. And I saw not that real scary one, but like the negative space again on the island, kind of in the tree line, but it's all in kind of in the trees, but it was like recessed back where there's more trees, and it's not so like brambly and deadfall where it's actual living trees. There was something back in there, and I know it wasn't a Sasquatch because I could see ears, And it was so massive. And I just knew that it wasn't a dog. It wasn't a bear. I mean, it was that negative black space thing again. And then you see the eyes, and it was like bright green eyes, and just big, big eyes. And they're like almost, if you ever look at a husky's eyes, how they're kind of almond shaped and squinty, that's kind of how these eyes are shaped. They're not round. Like a Sasquatch's eyes are more round. These are more almondy shaped. And I remember when I came on, it was the second interview that we did. And I was telling you, you asked me if anything new had happened. And I said, when I was out walking along the field, my dog was this was when I had another dog. He was kind of looking over to the left on the tree line. And I saw these bright green eyes that were backlit, and they looked real almondy shaped. That's exactly what this was. And I think it might have been the same one, but it was back in there. And I thought, oh, I didn't feel like I was going to be attacked or anything like that, but I felt scared. I felt, it's very strange, but I felt scared. And then I felt like really conflicted and bad for feeling scared, because I felt like by feeling scared, it was like, this is going to sound dumb, but like I might hurt their feelings because I feel scared because I'm seeing them again. So I had just like these weird feelings inside, but that got overridden because I really wanted to find this kitten. And I followed the tracks, and I just kept following the tracks and just kind of ignored it. And then, God, like the feeling just got to me. And as much as I wanted to get this little kitten, the feeling was so uncomfortable for me that I backed out. I just left. And we did get the kitten back. 2 days later, the kitten came back. So I felt like that made me feel even worse for feeling scared, because I felt at the time in my head, I was thinking, if you ate that kitten, or if anything happened to that kitten, I will come and get you, because that was, to me, would have been just such a violation and disrespectful to me and just horrible. But we did get the kitten back a couple of days later, and I kept following his tracks. He kept going back onto that island and then down by the outhouse, which I thought was really weird, because every time I see the dogmen that look like a timber wolf, they're down by this outhouse. And, the other one was down by that island. So, it was just really odd to me, because this kitten was going where these things hang out, but he wasn't harmed. When I finally got him back in, he was hungry, but he wasn't any worse for wear, which I actually thanked them for taking care of him, whoever took care of him and didn't harm him, because it was pretty cold. It was in the middle of winter, and he was just none the worse for wear. But I just thought that was so interesting, I guess, that's where he was choosing to go instead of under my back porch, which would be warmer, but that's where he was hanging out. Another time I was out in the yard and in the field, and I got that feeling again. And I looked over to my left along the tree line, and kind of around the same spot where I saw the eyes before, there was something there. And it was like, you know how